Welcome, everyone. My name is Sarah Ray from the Bloomfield Public Library. Thank you for joining us for our part 2 of our banking series. Tonight's topic is budgeting basics, and I'm going to turn the mic over to Pam.
Great. Thank you, Sarah. I am Pam from Liberty Bank, and I have been with the bank for over 7 years, but doing this type of work for a long time. So feel free if you have any banking questions that pop up during the presentation to put them in the chat, like Sarah said, and we'll be happy to answer them after the presentation. I'm also joined with Rashaya from Liberty Bank, and she'll probably be jumping in as well. So I wanted to start off tonight talking about budgeting. And when you say budgeting to people, they get a little bit like, it's sounds like it's too hard, or I'm not good with money. It seems a little daunting. But I like to think of budgeting similar to a diet, right? It's something you might decide you want to change your eating habits, and you look at it that there's lots of different ways to diet. It's not always all bad. You can sometimes eat fun foods while you're dieting. Maybe you're just trying to change your lifestyle a little bit. There are many different types of diets out there. There's vegetarian diets, there's um, Atkins diet, Jenny Craig, Weight Watchers, the list goes on. And it's similar with budgeting as well. It's not a one fits all type of program. So if you think of budgeting more just like a plan or a way to change some habits you might think need improving, that's really what we're going to talk about tonight. So, we're going to discuss your values and your beliefs and how they affect your financial life, because this is what's really going to have a big impact on how you budget and why you do different choices with your money. We're going to talk about setting some goals to help you reach your budgeting objectives. We're going to learn the best way to set aside some money so that you can have some savings to help you reach your goals. And, savings is always good for emergencies as well. Then we're going to look at some different strategies and then come up with a plan. Because really, if you have a plan, even if it's a small plan, some baby steps, you're more likely to succeed. And my biggest thing that I love with a plan is a plan gives you some peace of mind, right? Because if you have a plan in place, you can go back and refer to it. So if things start to go wrong, you can go back and look at your plan and reset. Okay, so your money has a lot to do with how you spend your money, has a lot to do with your values, what you really value, and the different ways that you're influenced. So if you think about it, you may value stability and your family. So you really want to have your money go towards a home and maybe things to make your home really comfortable and safe, where another person may value adventure. So they want to really save their money to go on different trips or see the world. Everyone probably has that person they know in their life that just went on a whim to Europe or somewhere and spent months just traveling from place to place. Now, that type of lifestyle would really be hard for the person who valued stability and wanted a home to go, the same place to go back to every evening, right? So you have to take a little look and jot down on a piece of paper right now some things that you really value and that are important to you. And that will help determine how you want to put your money. Also, we have to think about things that influence us. Are we the kind of people who see things on TV ads or hear things from friends that tempt us to spend our money in that direction? Or are we more influenced by maybe a book that we read on finance. So we want to really follow that guru or that person's lifestyle. So that's a big influence on us. Or maybe we have a mentor or a family member, somebody that they're a good influence on us. So what are some things that help determine how we spend money? Sometimes, I'm sure everyone has knows somebody who is very impulsive, so they're quick to have, make money decisions because they're influenced by the everything around them in life. And then there's other people who are more calm and really take time and think about things before they make a decision with their money. And so sometimes they may miss out on opportunities, right? So there's pros and cons to both. And so neither is right or wrong. It just is taking a deep dive at what you believe in and how you act. And this is going to impact how you want to make your plan going forward. So you can take a minute and stop and think about how you use your money. Do you really focus on saving? Do you have a plan to save? Do you have a certain amount coming out of your paycheck every week to go towards your savings? Or are you the type of person who is really generous and shares a lot of their money? Sometimes you may know this person who is always giving, giving, giving their money, but then sometimes they don't save enough for themselves. So they might not be in a good financial position. Or are you always just out spending, without thinking, or just every penny you make, you need to spend to support? So trying to save is a real challenge for you. So taking a little time too and writing down some things, how you think you want to spend your money. Do you tend to share a lot with others? Are you very generous with your dollars, or are you more conservative? And what do you do when it comes to savings? Do you have a savings plan in place? So now we have to do a little deeper dive so we can figure out how we want to budget our dollars and think of what kind of future do we want? What are your hopes and dreams? If I was a fairy princess and could wave my wand and you could have anything you wanted for the future, what would that be? And what would your short-term goal be? Maybe you just want a new pair of shoes. That's awesome too. Or maybe you're looking, farther down the road at your dream home with, a new car and retiring at 55. So what are some things that you hope to dream? And what are some things, like practical things too? Do you have education goals? Do you have a certain career that you want to obtain, or have children that may need to go to school and you need to start saving for that? So what are some things that you want to see happening in your future? Goals are desired results, right? So if we just think of the things that we want to see happen, those are our goals. And then we have to dive down deep and think of how we want to accomplish these goals. And we're going to go over that in a little more detail when we talk about SMART goals. So, when you're setting your goals, you really want to prioritize how you're going to use your money to achieve these goals, and then how we're going to measure if we're reaching them. So, if you relate back to the diet example, you might set a goal of losing 10 pounds, and you can measure that by weekly weigh in check ins on the scale. So, if your goal is to purchase a house and you haven't had any money set aside for a down payment, you might have your goal to save $5,000, and you're going to check every month to see if you've put in, $100 or 200, whatever that measure is. And if you keep doing that, you'll see that you're getting closer to your goal. Your goal may be to improve your credit. And so you printed out your credit report and saw all the things you need to work on, which is going to be next month's class on credit. But you can see all the things you need to work on, and maybe you have a list. And as you accomplish each thing, you check it off, and that's your way to measure. So, a lot of people, I don't know how many of you heard of the term SMART goals, but SMART goals are used a lot because it's an easy way to take a look at what you want to achieve, ask yourself some questions, and write out a plan. So, right now, you all, if you have some paper in front of you, might want to think of one of the goals that you would like to achieve and just write it down so you can start looking at it. And then ask yourself these questions. Is it a specific goal? What exactly do I want to accomplish here? Why is this important to me? And is this something I really want? Because if it's something you really want, the chances of you achieving that goal are going to be so much greater than if it's something, yeah, it sounds good. That's the case, chances are you might not achieve it. So really make sure your goals are something you really value and want to achieve. So say your goal was to, that's very specific, right? In 5 years, I want to own a home. Why is this important to me? I want to have a stable place to live and want to start growing, building some wealth. And is this something I really want? Yes, I really value stability and living in a particular neighborhood. And it's been my dream forever. So, very specific, right? Measurable. How much, how many, and how will I know when I've met my goal? So, owning a home, that's kind of very measurable, right? You can see the end result when you sign for your mortgage and walk in the front door. But how much you'll have to look at how much am I going to have to save, how much am I going to have to how many? Well, we're only going to purchase one home, so that's easy. And how will I know when I've met my goal when we get in the home? So, action oriented. What specific actions do I need to complete in order to meet this goal? So, this is the one that I like the best because this one is where we can really start to take some steps to reaching the goal. So if we stick with the home ownership goal, okay, what are some things I need to do? I need to check my credit and maybe make adjustments. I need to get my savings in order, start to save some money. I need to look at my income and make sure it's where it should be. Maybe I might need to work some extra or cut back on some of my expenses. So, starting to make a plan of what are the steps I need to do to reach this goal of home ownership. And then reachable. Is this something I can actually reach? So this is when it's a good idea to, if you're talking home ownership, then you may want to talk to someone at the bank, right? A loan officer and say, is this a goal that I can reach on my income and this is what I want? And they can look at it and say, yes, you can, and this is what you have to do. So it's reachable. And time bound. When will I reach this goal? So that's when you can really start to think about, I have to do all of these things. And realistically, how long will it take me? It might take me 5 years, but I have a plan and I'm going to do this amount each year. Now, a home is a big goal, right? But we could do the same steps going through for something like maybe going on a long weekend vacation coming up. It's really specific. By the fall, I want to go to Cape Cod for 2 nights. And then, going through all of these steps in the same way. And this goal you'd want to reach in 2 months. So, starting to think about these different types of goals and looking at these different ways to measure them is going to help you put a plan in action. So a lot of times we have people around us that can help you achieve your goals, right? So you probably all of you have a good friend or a family member or somebody that is your go-to person that can help you with achieving your goals. You know, they're always going to be encouraging. They're going to be giving you good advice. If you start to do something you shouldn't do, they're going to be like, you don't need to buy that right now. They're going to be helping you out. There's also other people out there that can help you, like your banker. They can help you, answer questions. There's different agencies out there that are available to help you. There's financial opportunity centers. I always refer people to the Village for children and families. They have a financial opportunity center. And for somebody who might need extra guidance and help meeting their financial goals, they're someone who can really be helpful and help you be productive. Then we have the other people who are having a negative impact on us reaching our goals. And that's a tough one, right? Probably the friend you have that is really negative all the time, or telling you, come on, let's go out, forget about, you don't need to save this week, we can do this or that. The people who don't have the same goals as your objectives can get in your way and sometimes be a negative influence on you reaching your goals. So sometimes that's the tough part. We sometimes have to step away from the things that are getting in our way. Sometimes maybe it's social media that's stopping us because we keep looking online and we see different things and we want to buy them. So we say, I'm not going to put my money in my savings this week. I'm going to just make this one purchase. It's tempting us, right? So maybe we have to stop using different social media, or maybe it's something on TV that's, tempting us. Maybe it's HGTV or the shopping network, and it's making us spend too much money. So we have to know what are some things that are causing us to be unproductive and find ways to avoid them. So there are a lot of things that are going to influence our choices about money. Advertisements for sure. If you see, an advertisement when you're watching TV, notice this next time you're watching TV, maybe you're watching a show and something really dramatic is happening. You're going to find out who the bad guy is. And right before you're going to find out, breaks to a commercial. And so your senses are high alert. And now there's something on TV and you see that sticks in your head. You go back to your show, another commercial, same type of advertisements on there. You keep seeing and seeing it, and then you don't even know, but subconsciously it's sticking in your mind, and it's kind of tempting you now to make that purchase, or do go on that vacation, do whatever it is they're trying to tempt you with. So advertisements are very, very tempting. They pop up on social media. A lot of times I buy things I don't really need because I maybe looking to see what my kids are doing and pop on Facebook, and all of a sudden a advertisement for shoes pops up and I say, "Oh, that's a good deal. It's a good sale." I'll click on it and buy the shoes. And I had no need to buy shoes at that moment. So really, being conscious of advertisements and, taking a pause. Media, celebrities, a lot of times celebrities will influence us. That's why a lot of times different celebrities will talk about a different product. They'll drive a certain car on an advertisement to try to entice you to purchase that. And then our peers or our friends, I just recently had a sad story. A family was living in a neighborhood, and they were, doing fine. And the mom wanted to, like, had children and wanted to have the children have everything everyone else in the neighborhood had. So she kept buying and using credit to do it because they were, just comfortably living as they were. But then she wanted her daughter to do dance lessons and all these things and just kept charging, charging, charging. And then came to the bank and was like, I don't know what to do. I'm in way over my head. I just thought I was being a really good mom. And so, she had good intentions, but was under all this peer pressure of her children's, the friends and parents in the neighborhood and all. So, really being aware of that and knowing what you can do and what you can't. So strategies for staying focused on your goals. So, recognizing advertisers and what they're doing. A lot of times when now an ad pops up, I just click off it. I try to not open anything that, is going to be an advertisement for something. I just don't even look at it. And that's my best defense. Notice when you're tempted and not tempted. A lot of times people will ask me, should I get a credit card? And I say to them, a credit card is a good way to start to build your credit. But if you're the kind of person who's tempted all the time and is going to be using that credit card every time you see something you like, maybe a credit card is not right for you. So, knowing when you are tempted and when you can have a lot of control, and that goes with controlling your environment. If you don't do well at the mall, don't go to the mall where you're tempted to do shopping. Maybe if you don't want to spend a lot of money at dinner, stay home and invite people to your house to control your where you're going to be at. And then build in the pause, taking a time out. That's the great way to really not spend more than you should. And that is just when you're about to purchase something, stop. Think about it. Do I really need it? Walk away, maybe do something else for an hour. And then if you still really think you need it, then maybe you do and you can purchase it. Or taking a day to think about something. A lot of times, if you take that time, you'll think, I don't really need it or want it. It's, everything is kind of what fast paced, and that's what gets you to quickly buy. So, why should we do save some money when we're trying to reach our goals? Is because we need to save money to put towards our goals. We need to save some money to start to build some wealth. We need to save for emergencies. Many, many people are doing great in the day to day, but then if they have a big problem happens, their car breaks down and dies suddenly, they don't have the emergency savings to help them get over that small crisis, and it sets them back. Having an emergency savings to me is a great peace of mind, right? So if you just have that money put aside and if something goes wrong, if I'm out of work for a week, I have something to fall back on. So that's one of the really big benefits of having an emergency savings. So that comes into play when you have time with less income or more expenses. Around the holidays, a lot of times people like to spend more money. So if you have some money saved and set aside, it won't put you in debt, right? You can still do those fun things, but you had put money, save money ahead for it. Gives you peace of mind, and there's lots of other reasons why people save. Some do just to purchase something so they don't have to put it on credit, um, or get into debt. So whatever, that goes back to your values and what influences you. If you really value having a stable amount of money in the bank to rely on, that can be priceless to a lot of people. So now we're going to start to get into the budgeting, really basics and work that you probably are waiting to do. So we really have to take a big look at our income. So our income is the money we receive, and again, if you have some paper or pencil, you don't have to do it right now, but when we're done with this uh, program, you may want to write down your income. So a lot of times you might say, well, it's my, monthly pay. Well, there's that, but do you get a big tax return every year? If that's the case, you want to write down that. Are you getting money from other sources? Are you getting any social security or disability? Do you have child support coming in? Are there any other funds that are coming in? Do you have a little side business of some sort? Do you have a part-time job? All these different things. You want to make sure you account for all the income you have, and then your expenses. How are you using this money coming in? Everyone can say, well, I have my rent, I have my car payment, but what else? What other things are you spending on? Are you going to Dunkin' Donuts every day? Do you go out to dinner a few times a week? Do you have a hobby that's expensive? Are your children in sports or something that requires you to pay money every month? Do you have other bills that you signed up for, such as a gym membership? All of those things, taking a good look, writing them all down. And a lot of times when you write them all down and take a look, you may say, maybe I don't really want to spend that much money on these things. I'm not really even using my gym membership. Maybe I will, during these summer months, go for walks or jog or something outdoors and suspend my membership to save some money. Taking a deep dive and looking at that. Are you spending a lot of money on, do you still have cable TV? Do you spend a lot of money on that? Or have you subscribed to a bunch of different streaming services and you're not even using them? So when you write everything down and you look and you think, "Oh, how often do I really watch Netflix? I never am home to watch TV, and I'm paying, $14 a month. Maybe I could get rid of that expense." So taking a good look at your car insurance. "Oh my gosh, my car insurance is so high right now. Maybe I should call 5 or 6 other insurance agents and get prices and see if I can do better." So when you're filling out your savings plan, you can do all of your income, subtract out your expenses, and then see what the difference is. You always want to, have some extra income at the end, right? And that's the money we can put towards our savings or put towards our goals. If it comes the other way, you spend more than you make, you're really going to have to make some adjustments. So 0 means you're equal, but that's good, but it also means you don't have any room for any unexpected expenses. So that can be a little stressful. You could have more income than expenses, right? And then you have room to save. But if your expenses are higher than your income, you're really going to have to try to make some adjustments, either increase the income or cut back on the expenses. So when you're trying to cut your expenses, it goes back to pretty basic. What do you need? What do you have to have? What are some things you want, but you can definitely live without? And then what are your obligations, your debts that you owe? And it's really important to think about all of these things because they all will have an interaction. Your debts that you owe, if you say, I just can't afford it anymore, I'm just not going to pay them, you have to think because that can impact the things you really need. If all of a sudden you said, I'm having trouble, I'm just not going to pay my student loans anymore, then you might not, when it will impact your credit. And then when you go to get the things you really need, say your rent, your landlord pulls your credit and now he doesn't give you the apartment because you have you're a credit risk. So looking at everything and coming up with the things that you really have to spend your money on, the things, the debts that you owe, how can you pay them back? Um, if they're too high, maybe there's ways you can reduce them or work with your creditors and figure out ways. But looking at all of this picture will help you to meet your needs. Um, oops, and use less money for things that you really just want, and get a good understanding how you're using your money, and is it in line with your values and your goals? Because if it's not, you're always going to feel a little bit uneasy. Think of where you can make those changes, and then spend less. So we just kind of talked about this, what you can do when your money is short: increase your income, decrease your expenses, contact your creditors, especially with student loans. If anyone's having issues with their student loans, there are a lot of programs, if they're government student loans, that can help you put your loan in forbearance or maybe have a lower monthly payment so that you don't report anything negative. Reaching out for help. That's, I had mentioned the financial opportunity centers, but they have credit counselors who can sit with you and help you come up with a good budget and plan to help you get out of debt or to meet all of your expenses. Maybe you need to increase your income and it would involve doing some extra building of your career, maybe an extra course or class or certification, and they can really help you there achieve those goals. And always, prioritizing what you need to pay first and making sure you do that to meet your needs for yourself and your family. Of course, managing your expenses helps you avoid late fees, interest on unpaid balances, negative credit report, having your services shut off, and then the fees that are going to be associated to get your services ch- um, turned back on. So, if you can manage things ahead of time, you can avoid all of these issues. There's also some apps for whatever bank that you're banking with. I know Liberty Bank has a great budgeting savings app on our for our customers, but most banks across wherever you're banking have tools that can help you with your savings and spending. So there's apps for your online banking, and a lot of them have programs in there that will break out where you're spending your money so you can see. They'll have ways if you want to set a savings goal right on the app, so you can plug in there that you want to save a goal of $5,000 in 3 years, and it will tell you how much you have to save every month out of your paycheck and help you set up alerts to remind you. So definitely use your tools that your bank offers, and usually it's free for you as long as you have an account with them. So take advantage of that. And if you're having trouble with it, don't hesitate to stop in your bank and ask them to help you with it. A lot of times people do well saving if they have the money automatically transferred out of their account to their savings account. And that is something that is, really simple to set up and a great tool. Sometimes people don't realize they can open up more than one account. So, if you really want to save for a specific thing to meet one of your goals, you can always open up an additional savings account and then have some of your direct deposit every pay go right into that account. A lot of people will set up that account at a bank they don't use, that's not close to them, and not get an ATM card or a debit card so that it's hard for them to use that money. They have to actually go into the bank and then make an effort to take it out. So it really is a good savings plan for them. looking to see if there's savings plans that will help you reach your goals, development plans or accounts that if you save a certain amount, the bank or another organization will match that amount to go towards your goal of purchasing a car, education, or home ownership. So, looking to see if there are any other savings programs that are available to you. So, I know I've been telling you a lot to write down things and start looking at things, but once you have things, you've written down a lot of things, kind of go back and organize them and write them all out, the things you want to achieve. Put them on post-it notes, share them with your friends, put it on your phone background, stick it on your refrigerator. When you see your goals all the time, it really helps you to stay focused and helps you to achieve them. Share them with somebody who can be your accountability partner, and they can tell you what they're working towards. You can tell them, and once a week or once a day, you check in with them and see how they're doing and encourage each other. And it's like, back to the diet example, one reason why Weight Watchers was so successful is because you had to go in every week and weigh yourself in front of somebody. And you were more likely to be accountable if you had to get on that scale in front of, the class, and you didn't want to be the one who gained weight instead of lost it. Same way with your financial goals. If you have somebody that's going to be checking in with you, you're really going to want to be successful. You're not going to want to say, "Oh, I did really bad this week." So, having that help is a great way to stick with your goals. So, now I just wanted to talk a little bit about I wanted you all to think about what you're going to do to take some action, because we talked about a lot of different things. And what is one thing you want to do once we're done with this class or training that you want to do tonight or tomorrow? One small thing. And then who's the person you're going to tell about your planned action? Who's going to be your accountability partner? Oops. And what is it that is there anything that you're going to need or want some help to achieve this? So what is it that you're going to need? What information, what support? Write all those things down so that you can have an action plan to really get moving. Having the plan written down and in front of you is really going to be a good key to your success. Does anyone have any questions?